Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, SPC Connect Cloud Solution. My name is Jeff Rushton and I'll be your presenter for today. Just to get started, for those that haven't joined us before, I'll run through a few main points to remember. Firstly, you can see that you're muted. Please remain muted during the course of this webinar. If you have any questions, please type them in the question pane and hit send. I will attempt to answer them if time permits. Failing that, I'll send you an email after the webinar with the answer. And if there's any handouts available, this is where you can download them from the handout pane. So this is a follow-up to last week's webinar on the SPC introduction. So I might just have a quick recap of the main features and then we can learn about the cloud support. So SPC is a scalable, multi-language system with an embedded web server. It's got many access control features and it has advanced security features for banks and financial institutions, as well as inbuilt audio and video verification. The product also has an extensive software suite and it talks to a secure cloud portal called SPC Connect. So SPC Connect is the topic for today. SPC also has a number of third-party integrations to things like home automation, access control, and CCTV systems as well. This overview here highlights the various modules and software available. So now's probably a good time that if you haven't done so already, that you can download the brochures and the video from the GoToWebinar control panel in the handout section. Programming the system, and this is sort of just a recap on last week as well, programming the system can be done in a variety of ways. Firstly, through the keypad. Just about everything in relation to programming can be done direct at the keypad or through any web browser on the same network as the panel with no need to install any software at all. Programming can also be performed by the SPC Pro download software or also from any web browser anywhere in the world using the SPC Connect cloud portal. The web server is illogical and it's easy to navigate and it's presented in a graphical view as shown here. And we'll be spending a little bit more time with that later on. The cloud service, though, provides a number of value-added services to help your business and customer. Firstly, it's a link to the mobile apps. It also provides automated system backups each night and monthly reports on system status. It can store up to 12 months worth of audio and video alarm history. It can also automatically upgrade your system firmware at set times. The app can also send push notifications to your customer groups for things like specials, general notices, and account information. So to start, first thing we need to do is apply for a free system user account at spcconnect.com. And here we register as a system user. When we do that, we have to fill out a form. So it's pretty straightforward, except ensure that your password meets the minimum standard of at least 8 characters and 3 of the following 4 scenarios. Has to include lowercase, uppercase, digits, and/or non-alphanumeric characters. Once it's completed, send the form and you will receive an email asking to confirm the registration within a few minutes. Just note though that the username and the password that we select for the account here is also going to be your username and password that you enter into the SPC Connect apps. So when we log on, when we've received our confirmation, you'll notice that there is a register panel prompt. So in order to add a panel to our account, we need to know the panel registration ID, a panel username, and the corresponding password. So these details will allow you exactly the same access privileges that the user has on the panel. So normally, this would be the programmed username and password of the person you are setting the SPC Connect to, in this case. So we can find out these details, or we can enter them, either from the keypad or your browser. So firstly, let's have a look at entering the details from the keypad. We log on with a valid user account at the keypad. We scroll up to SPC Connect and hit the Enter key, and then note down the registration ID that's shown on the keypad now. Then we back up a step, look for the user options to add or maybe edit a user. In our case, we're going to add a new user onto the system. We're going to be happy with the first selection that it appears. We can type in the name, or in our case, we're just going to leave it as user 6. We're going to make user 6 a manager. And we can select the pin that's programmed here, or we can type in our own. So in our case, we'll make it 7777. Once we've done that, we can see that it's been created. We can exit from the menu. So now we have the registration ID and a valid user on the system that we're going to put into the system. If we're going to do that from the keypad, from the browser, we just type the IP address of the panel, log on with our valid user details that can program users in. Go down to the users icon, add a user. We can change the name, again, user 6, and we will type in our PIN, make them a manager, and hit save. Just to be sure, we can check by clicking users again, and we can see that user 6 has been added. If we go to the status and then flex C, we can just copy the registration ID, and then we can paste that into our SPC Connect. So straight from there, copy and paste without the need for retyping everything. So on our SPC Connect page, we enter the details exactly as we entered on the panel. And case is also important. So any capitals or lowercase need to be entered, including spaces, exactly as were entered in the panel. After we've entered those 3 details, we click the Add Panel to Account. If the details match, then the panel will be added as shown in the list of the panels on this page. So how about we go and have a look at a live example now. So I'll start up my browser. It's directed to spcconnect.com. I'm going to log on with my test account that I created earlier, and we can see the panel that we just had from the previous screen. So from here we can do a variety of things. Let's just look at the absolute base things at the moment, and then we'll go in and look at the details on the panel. Up the top here we've got a few options. Account settings. Basically we can have a secure logon that will send us a code every time we log on to make sure that we are who we say we are. We have the basic account details that we set up when we started the account. And account devices, if we've logged on to any portable device with the app using the logon details that we've logged on with this account, we'll see those devices listed here. So we can see from here that I've logged on with this account with my iPhone, and currently push notifications is active to my phone on this particular account. If needed, we can revoke access to an individual by deleting them from the system here. Or certainly if we added some more while we're on this screen, we can refresh it to see them also. Let's go back to the panel screen though. We can have as many panels as we want, but let's just work with the panel here that we've got, our Alarm Corp demo. The panel registration that we've set up, communication is online. The last time that it polled was a little over 5 minutes ago. Let's go to the Connect icon here. From here, it's now interrogated the panel and it's showing us the state of all of our areas. So it's saying that some are set and some aren't. We can see that area 1, area 2, area 3 are unset, area 4 is set, and area 5 is unset as well. There are no isolates or inhibits down the bottom. If we wanted to, directly from this page, well, firstly, we can arm or disarm. So we can disarm the entire system from here. We can see that everything is unset. We can set particular areas directly from here. Or we can connect directly to the web server on the panel itself. So clicking on this will take us directly to the logon screen of the panel. And from here, we can do much the same, or we can go into program mode and fully program the entire system directly from our web portal. For us now though, we're not concerned with programming the system, we're concerned with the SPC Connect service. If the panel was in alarm right at this moment, the alarms as well as any video or audio verification would be listed here. Any events from the panel, and events are reportable things. So anything that was sent through a control room would be listed with the entire details. So on the previous webinar, I informed you that this particular panel has got a log of 10,000 events. We can look at the entire log file that includes all of the programming or operation that I've done on this panel. And that will go back, or we can streamline that for various times or various events also. We can directly look at all of the panel users that are set up in this system. And from here, we can attach photos. We can change their PIN codes. We can edit the details on the user. or delete them from here. It's also possible that once we've set up all of the users in the panel, that we can go through and automatically or semi-automatically create an SPC Connect account for each of them directly from this screen. You'll notice that each user is assigned a profile. We can manage those profiles also from this service. You can see that we have 4 set up. Let's have a quick look at our standard user. And we can see for this, if we assign a person to a standard user, they're automatically associated with the areas that we've selected, with any calendars that we've enabled, and then various rights of things that they are allowed or aren't allowed to do. So this is quite an extensive list. And then down the bottom, it will list all of the users that are associated with this profile. We can have a look at any archived, uploaded audio and video information. I'll just show you one down the bottom here that says, under View, it will show us our pre-alarm images, of which there are 8, and our post-alarm images, of which there are 8 images also. If there was any audio associated with this, we could play back the audio. And in this case, we've just got the video here. We also have the ability, both from the alarm screen and this screen, to send what they call is a challenge message. So we've programmed a number of messages, some a little bit flamboyant here. And when we hit the send challenge message, it will say this wording, so police called, through the speaker on the keypad associated with this camera. We can also, from here, look at live video of the site. So we have 4 cameras connected to this system. So we can see those images displayed here. So that's sort of a brief snapshot of the user functions within SPC Connect. And they relate directly to how the apps function. So in this case, we have the ability to have an app in iOS, Android, or Windows 10. And the SPC app allows full control of your system with things like we've already seen, arm and disarm any area, isolate or de-isolate any zone, view the event or the access log, operate any output, or open or momentary open or lock any access door that we have connected to the system. We can also view any camera, and we have the ability to have a 2-way communication with anyone at a keypad while viewing the associated camera. The app can also send push notifications for alarms, troubles, open and closes, and a variety of other functions. We can associate a map with the app, and icons for any or all of the functions can be overlaid on the map for easy operation. And as I've said, we can have push notifications for any system event. So let's have a quick look and see how that works. I've got this connected to my iPad. We can run the SPC Connect app and see the sites on the left-hand side that we've got connected. Let's click on our demo system that we've just programmed up. It will go interrogate the panel and come back with its status. We can see the state of the system or the various areas. We can hit the full set button up in the top right, and that will go away and arm every area. So it's going out and doing that now. When it does that and gets the status back from the panel, it will update in another second or two. So we can see that all the areas now are armed. We can go into a particular area and turn that area off, or we can click on the icon for that area and also arm or disarm that area as well, like we can see here. If we have cameras and we have set up verification zones on the system, we'll see those down the bottom on this page. So when we click on a verification zone, it's bringing up a camera image, and it will connect us to the keypad that we've set up as the corresponding verification zone. So by pushing the mic button, we can talk to the keypad, or by pushing the speaker button, we can listen to what's happening at that keypad. So as it's happening. We can go into the areas and basically do what we've done here and arm or disarm any area. We can go to the zones down the bottom. We can see the status of every zone on the system. We can click and we can isolate or inhibit a zone, or we can view the log file of every open and close that that zone has had. Even when the system is disarmed, it will log this information. If we had doors connected, which unfortunately I don't on this system, we have the ability to show the state of the door and to open or close that door as well. For any outputs that we programmed that the user can operate, we can turn on or turn off that output. So we've turned on this output, it's turned it on at the panel, the software is now interrogating it and coming back and telling us that the status is on, and we're turning it back off from here. As shown, we can also add maps to the system. We can add a variety of maps. I've just got one on this system, and then we can drag the icons into the location on the map that we want it to be. And from this display, we can arm and disarm any area and see the state of that area. Like we did with the zones, we can click on a zone and isolate or view the log file of a particular zone. Or we can click on a camera. And the first time we do this, it takes a few seconds for all the cameras to be populated, but it will show us an image of that camera. So when we click on any of the other cameras, the images will automatically be there. So a great way to control your system through the use of a map. For any cameras that we have, so we have 4, we can scroll them or swipe them or view them in a quad display. Our log files, we can interrogate our system log file or our access log file if we had access control doors on the system. We also have a variety of settings that we can manipulate. Under General, there's a few options here that we could enable or disable. Under Maps, what devices do we want to be shown on the map or not? Under Security, whether we need to put in our code every time that we start the app. Or under Panels, we can go and edit our notifications for a particular panel. And this is where we can set up what events, what push notifications are to be sent through to my iPad in this particular case. So we can turn on or off any of these push notifications and then update the panel by pushing the send button. So as seen on this app, we've got 4 different panels on this system. So if we just go to another panel, we can see the state of that also and control it in exactly the same way. So that pretty much takes care of how the user app and account works. But that's really the beginning. There's a whole bunch of other useful functions, and that's a technical term, whole bunch, that the installer can use when we set up an installer account. So by registering as an installer or a company account, we follow much the same sort of procedure we did for the user account. We send that through, wait for a confirmation, and then we can log on with that account. So let's do that now. So the procedure is exactly the same, but what we can't do is we cannot have the same email address for both a system user and an installer. So in our case, we have our company account that we have set up earlier as well, and we get a whole lot more options and menus that we had previously. Basically, this is a setting of the account that we set up. We can automatically turn system users into, we can turn installer accounts into installers on our company account. So what this does is allow you to have your staff all have an installer account that's tied to the company account that we've logged on with, and we can then associate them with functions. So under installer profiles, we can select what an installer does when we associate this profile, what they can edit, what groups of panels that they can manage themselves. So we have pretty good control over the functionality that we allow, whether it be a staff member or a subcontractor, access to manage our SPC panels that we have online. We also have a selection or the status that shows us all of the system users that can log on to our company account to do work. And we have an approval process and what they are allowed to manage here on the system. From this company function as well, we can set up some user notifications. So let's just set one up here. A user notification is something that we can set out at a particular time and day. It can either be a general push notification, an offer, or a warning. All three are identical except they have a different icon when the push notification comes through. We can select a group of panels which we haven't discussed yet. So let's say Melbourne panels and then maybe Sydney panels. We can define a language for this push notification. English is probably a good choice for us. Give it a title. Give it a location for an image. Type in the text for the notification. Then you can have a tell me more button, and when you press it, it takes you to a web address. So what this does for you is give you direct in-your-face notification to all your end users that you have connected on the system, that you can offer a special, maybe some information, or maybe give them updates on their account information, or tell them that their account is overdue. We can hit the save, and then that will be sent out at the time and the date that we've selected here. So a really good set of options that you typically won't find on any other alarm panel that I'm aware of. We have the ability here to look at the audit trail of our company account. That is everyone that's ever logged on and what they've done to our account or our account settings. The area though that we want to spend more of our time is with our panels and our panel groups. We can see here all of the panels that we've enabled on our company account. We can see here that all of them are okay, except this one. It was been offline for the last week or so, and it tells us the last time that they polled. What we can also interrogate is what Vanderbilt call an ATP status. That is the status of every module that is communicating on each panel. So in all of these cases, we only have a primary, which means that each of these panels has the Ethernet plugged in to have internet access. This bottom panel here has got both a primary, so an Ethernet, and it has a backup path. It has an onboard 3G modem connected. So although it only needs one to communicate, it's actually telling us here that both are online and working correctly, and that they were polled 5.5 minutes ago or just a little over 4 minutes ago. From these panels, we can do exactly what we did with the user account and log on, see the state, change the state, go into programming mode, change anything in the programming on any of these panels directly from this menu here. But let's have a look at these panel groups. When you add a panel group, depending on your company configuration, these groups may be by customer, or it may be by customer and location, any set of scenarios that you wish to set up. So let's just have a look here at the one that we've set up for Sydney panels. And you can see the functions that we get when we configure a panel into a group. So straight away here, for every panel that we've associated with this group, we can have it back up, the config manager, to back up the entire system and the entire event log, in our case, daily, at 10 p.m. at night. So every night there's an upload of this panel, of every panel in this group that's stored within the cloud. Every month we upload a remote maintenance report. We'll have a look in a sec what is included in that report, but we can see here every month at 2300 it will upload an event maintenance report for every panel in this group that we can review at our leisure. We can synchronize time and date directly from here by putting in the correct time zone and when. So we have it done monthly at 3 a.m. It can be done as often as daily. So every day it can sync the time. We can have the system automatically upgrade the firmware of every panel in this group when a new version of firmware is released to the cloud. So without us having any hands-on, every panel in this group will always have the latest version of firmware in the system. From here as well, we can enable our live view and live events from the system. How long do we want to store our audio and video verification? For a number of days or up to 12 months. The challenge messages that we said, we had 10 of those. We can put in the text for what speaks out on the keypad. System user restrictions. So this ability to have your customer have an app to see video and to get push notifications potentially is a good thing, and potentially for some customer, for some companies, may be a bad thing. you know, we want them to pay for a monitoring contract. We might want to charge them for the ability to view video or for the ability to get push notifications as well as a control room response. We have the ability directly from here to block anybody with a panel in this group from accessing the app, from blocking them to be able to view audio video verification events on the app or within the web browser. We can block them from getting push notifications or email notifications directly from here. So if these are features or functions or enhancements to the system that we want to charge for, we have that ability. We can block them if they're not paying for these features, and when they do pay, we can unblock them so they can utilize them here. The push notification on this system has been enhanced incredibly in the last few months. So in the next few months, the ability to send email notifications will be removed from the system. There was the ability to send emails out to any number of people and with these event types. The fact that all of this now can be done with a push notification is they feel that email is old hat, and in the next few months will be removed from the system. So we can see all of the things here that can be accomplished with every panel that's in this particular group. Let's just go into the panels. Here, we'll look at our demo panel, and there's an option here that says operations. Let's click on that. And now we can see every time that our backup was done. So we can see here every day, or in fact, I think I did a couple yesterday. We can manually make it do it. So a manual request, it's automatically done a backup from the system into the cloud. We can compare this backup with the previous backup to see if any programming changes were made. So from here, any changes will be highlighted with either text or highlight. I would doubt anything was changed within those two, but we can look at every single option that is available in the system, and anything that changed from the last 24 hours will be highlighted within the two here. Let's go back. We can have a look at every time the panel was time synced. We can have a look at our remote maintenance report. So let's have a look at the one. Let's do another one. Only take a couple of seconds. Let's view that report. We can see basic information of the panel and firmware version, serial number, the last time any configuration changes were done, the current panel time, the system status. There is no faults, and we're not in installer, or what they call engineering mode. There's nothing, there's no faults, there's no isolates, there's nothing that's been bypassed in the system. We can see the mains, battery are all okay. The battery voltage is currently 13.5. The auxiliary voltage is 13.5. We're drawing about 120 milliamps of current. There's only one keypad on that system, so that sounds about right. All the auxiliary, all the soft alarms and electronic fuses are all okay. It's telling me that I have one keypad on the system, and it's okay as well. It's now showing me the status of each of my areas, so full set, unset, the last time that it was turned on, the last time it was turned off, and the last alarm on every area. A great way to confirm that your customer is actually using the system. The last thing you want is a customer that isn't turning it on or off, you can sort of guarantee that if they're not using it, your monitoring will cease not long after. So a great way that we can see that the system is being used and when any alarms occurred. We can see the status of our zones right now. We can see that they're all closed, they're all normal. We can even get our zone log information directly from here, and we can see every open and close on this system. So we can see the resistance value, 1.2, 1.5. This is a bit shocking. There's something wrong with this end of line, something wrong with this zone, definitely. Typically, we should see the same value all the way through. The reason this is different is I was playing with the zone end of lines and type the other day while setting this up. But ultimately, you should see, in this case, it's a 1K end of line resistor. You should see 1K when it's closed and infinite, in this case, when it was open. So a great way to check over time whether your end of line resistance value is fluctuating and therefore potentially might cause you problems in the future. We can see our COM status. So in this case, this panel is communicating to our cloud. It's also communicating to a control room using our XT-COM program, showing the state of our Ethernet, of our 3G modem, and it's giving now a sample of both the modem call log and the system log. It goes back, I think, the last 50 events. So just so we can get a snapshot of what's happening on the system, and we can print that out, save it as a PDF, and potentially send this to the customer to show that we have done a system maintenance at a particular time, at a particular date. We can also look at our archived audio video from here in the much the same way that we looked at it previously with the user account. In this case, what this will do is interrogate the panel live now. Maybe I didn't click on it. I didn't click on it. So we can see exactly what we saw previously here. We also have the ability that when using a Vanderbilt Avensis NVR, that we can attach an NVR to our alarm panel also. So the panel is limited to 4 IP cameras, of which it's doing still images at 1 second updates. If we've got an NVR on site and we've got 16 cameras or 4, 8, 16 cameras hanging off that, we can associate the cameras on that NVR with a zone on the panel, so that when a zone on the panel goes into alarm, the corresponding video from that NVR is also uploaded to the cloud. I mean, it's stored on the NVR, but that alarm information is also stored in the cloud as well. So from here, we've seen the additional benefits of the company account, the way that we can control each of these accounts, and I suppose basically a snapshot of how we can use the system. So in summary, at the panel, we need to set up every user on the system, as you would expect. Record the registration ID for the SPC Connect service. Go to the SPC Connect service and set up a user account. Create the account, add the panel ID and then the user information. Then install the app on our phone or our tablet and log on with the same username and password that we'd set up for the SPC Connect service. There's nothing we need to do more in the app. It will get all of the settings that we've set up in the cloud. We can go further, of course, and set up our installer account. So by creating a company account and then adding all of our panel IDs, and we need a corresponding installer user, so we need to set up an installer in the panel as well. We can group those panels together, and then we can add those features that we've just discussed, like automatic backup, automatic reporting, automatic time sync, automatic audio video verification. So from here, if you're yearning to know a little bit more, the best place to explore SPC is on our YouTube site. This site has dozens and dozens of videos on the most common and maybe not so common programming functions of the system, as well as our sales videos and a copy of this webinar. Failing that, SPC Connect support page. Here you'll find the latest product information. So let's just have a real quick look at our YouTube site. When it loads, just search for Alarm Corp and you'll come up on this page. As I've stated, there are loads of videos on here. For our SPC product, we want to go down to Vanderbilt product videos, SPC intrusion panels, view playlist. So we can see we've got 77 videos listed here that is everything relating to SPC, from pulling it out of the box to setting up your accounts. So this is a great resource if you want to know anything more, certainly on the SPC panel. Failing that, to go to the SPC support page. So the address is spcsupportinfo.com. Everything here relates to the SPC panel. We can download the latest firmware, download the latest download client, download manuals, product support. The videos are here as well. We can download a calculator that calculates the power requirements for the panel. We can log in to an online learning platform, and then we can go through the learning of the system at our own pace. And at the end of that, end up with a certificate saying that we're certified in going through the learning platform here. All of this is all free of charge. So if you'd like to know more beyond those two sites, you can head over to alarmcorp.com.au. From there, you can also subscribe to our Alarm Corp Pulse newsletter. Or if you did register for an online account, you'll have the ability then to see our pricing, to be able to place orders, and then also access to all of the technical manuals and other information that relates to all of our product lines. Failing that, if you want more information, you can contact myself or Richard Bell for New South Wales, ACT and Queensland, or contact Chris Ireland in Victoria, South Australia, or WA. Or of course, like or follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Flipboard, Instagram, all this goes on. If you're hungry for more, then this is the list of webinars for the rest of the year. We're holding them on Wednesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. So the next one is tomorrow on the CTEC Cayuga VMS. Cayuga is a very versatile platform that also integrates with SPC. So now we can have areas, inputs and outputs on a map, and we can control cameras from various SPC functions. So we'd be very happy for you to join us tomorrow on that as well. And next Wednesday is the final intrusion or SPC webinar for the year. We'll be going into the more advanced programming functions of the panel so we can see what we can do additional to the functions that we saw last week. So this is the end of our webinar for today. I certainly really appreciate your time and certainly understand how precious it is and hope that you have found it beneficial. And we look forward to presenting further webinars to you in the future. So goodbye for now and enjoy the remainder of your day.